F major 7 is the most notoriously difficult chord to play on the ukulele. In fact, the first time I saw this chord written down, I thought it was a joke. Luckily for you, there is an easy way to play it, and in this lesson, I'm going to show you how. Okay, take a look at this chord and tell me if it's not the scariest thing you've ever seen on a fretboard. It starts with the ring finger on the C note, 3rd fret of the 1st string, and then first finger on the F note, 1st fret of the 2nd string. And here's where it gets tricky. Reach over with your 4th finger onto the 4th fret of the C string, and then take that leftover middle finger and put it down on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. And if you follow that, you're doing really well. Now take a look at that, and you'll understand why when I saw this for the first time, I actually thought it was a joke. I thought it was just a practical joke to scare off ukulele players. And then one day I thought I should try that chord. And when I did, I heard this sound. And I fell in love with that sound. Isn't that beautiful? It's a gorgeous chord. It's dissonant, but it's beautiful, it's resonant, it's evocative, but it's very hard to play. So then a friend of mine, Alan, came along and he showed me a much easier way to play this chord. And I'm going to pass it on to you now. Just take 2 fingers, it doesn't matter which, I'm going to use my 2nd and 3rd fingers, and put one of them in the 5th fret, 4th string, and another one in the 5th fret, 3rd string. Okay? And the other 2 strings you don't have to touch at all. They just stay open. So you've got 5th fret, 5th fret, and then open string, open string. Go ahead and strum this chord. And you'll notice that it's the same sound. Here, I'll play both back to back. Here's the easy version and the hard version. See, I'm even having trouble playing it now. The easy version and the hard version. Isn't that amazing? They actually have exactly the same notes in them, even though one is much easier to play than the other. Now, if you roll this chord, I'm going to use the easy version here. If you roll the chord, you'll notice it has a different sound on the way down than it does on the way up. It ends on a different note, which brings out a different part of this chord. Most ukulele chords are like this. They sound subtly different when you roll them down as opposed to when you roll them up toward your face. And when I'm rolling up toward my face, I'm using the pad of my index finger to give me a nice mellow sound. Okay, so downward and upward. So keep that in mind as we go to our next example, because I'm going to use the downward and the upward strums on this chord for slightly different effects. So now that you can play what used to be the hardest chord on the ukulele, the question you might have is, well, when am I going to use this chord? What's it good for? And to answer that question, I've written a little song that uses the F major 7 chord throughout. And you'll see that it's a great chord to begin with. It's a great chord for an intro, to set a mood for a song or an arrangement. And it's also a really wonderful chord to finish on. It's a great finishing touch for an arrangement or a performance. So this is my little F major 7 song. I hope you enjoy it. This is the intro to my song. This is the beginning of my song. This is the middle, where I've changed it just a little. And you guessed it, this is the end of my song. See what I mean? Now this is a bit tongue-in-cheek, but the point is you can hear in this tiny little miniature of a song that this chord does two things really well. It sets the mood right off the bat. It's such an evocative sound. And here I'm primarily using the downward strum on this F major 7. And then when I get to the very end, this is the end of Here I've come to the very end of my performance, and I want to give the audience just something a little bit special. Something they've heard before, but in a slightly different way. So I'm going to go to that F major 7, and I'm going to roll it up toward my face, which will bring out something a little different in the chord. This is the end of my song. Isn't that a beautiful sound? I just love this chord, and after all these years, it's still one of my favorites on the fretboard. So I encourage you to try to learn it this way eventually, the hard way, because there are some advantages to playing the voicing like that. The most obvious advantage being that you can transpose this one. You can move it up the frets. So you can play the major 7 chord in all different keys. But this one here, the easy version that my friend Alan showed me, that's a great way to get started. Now you can't use it to play any other chords. It only works for F major 7, not G major 7 or A major 7. So it's kind of stuck in one place, but it's a great way to start. It's a great way to start playing some chord qualities that are beyond the usual major and minor varieties. So I hope you've enjoyed this lesson and that it's taken you a few steps further down the road on your ukulele journey. Don't forget to stop by theukuleleway.com. That's where I'm giving lessons on the art and science of solo ukulele. In other words, how to play melody, harmony, and rhythm simultaneously on one instrument. We go into a lot of detail over there. There's a community that's grown around this resource, and it's free to join, so you have nothing to lose. theukuleleway.com. Check out some of my other YouTube videos, and until the next time, keep on strumming.